Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough of the Buffalo Wings. We are about to begin the 2037 regular season, and our Buffalo Wings are about to begin defense of our World Championship, our second world title in the past 3 seasons. As we start this season, our pitching staff from last season is largely intact, and our everyday players are also largely intact, with one notable exception being the departure of Shamar Jenneret, who was by far our best hitter, spent 3 seasons with the Buffalo Wings after we signed him to a 7-year deal, where we were required to get the deal done to allow him to have an opt-out after 3 years. And in those 3 seasons, all he did was lead the National League in ribbies every year, All-Star every year, Silver Slugger every year, led the Buffalo Wings in home runs every year, and he earned a World Series MVP award in 2034, a NL MVP award in 2035, and a World Series MVP award in 2036. So even though it's just one key departure as far as our position players, it's clearly a major one, and how much offense this team will generate this upcoming season without Jenneret is the big question we have as we prepare for the beginning of this 2037 season. But before we get the season underway in 3 days, I am going to deliver a visit to the trade wire, or actually, more accurately, not the trade wire, the waiver wire. Trade block. But we are going to look at the waiver wire today. It's something that, as I've mentioned in comments to previous episodes, I do on occasion during the season. I don't often find players that I love, but as some of you, most recently Stanley Rosella and Patrick DeBonis, have been encouraging me to review the waiver wire here right before the season starts, I have done so, and I will do so for you. And there are a couple of borderline interesting players to us on the waiver wire this year. I like the reliever Darnell Polite, 26 years old. He made the strange jump from high A ball to the majors last year, where he was a bit below average, average FIP minus, but below average ERA plus. That said, as a right-handed reliever, he's got excellent stuff, average movement, slightly above average control, very good fastball and sinker, not great at holding runners. I don't love that his personality description is that he has intellectual limits. Makes me wonder how clutch he is going to be in a tense situation. That said, there's no question that he certainly has talent. So we are going to put in a claim on Mr. Polite here. Honestly, if we bring him on board, we'll have to send down probably one of our left-handed pitchers, so we'll lose a little bit of flexibility in our bullpen, at least for the time being. But it's always interesting to potentially have another interesting arm around. Eric Geisler is a 29-year-old, not quite the same kind of stuff. He's also already fragile. Do like his personality, but not quite as interested with him. If the claim for Polite goes through, we'll consider bringing him on board, or we will be bringing him on board. Question is, how long we keep him on the Major League roster before potentially trying to sneak him down to AAA, as it looks like the Phillies are right now. And then as far as everyday players, there's a couple of interesting-ish bats out. Sean France is a right fielder, left-handed hitter, competent defensively. The bat, not incredibly interesting right now, but does have potential to continue to improve. But when I look at where his profile is right now, it's hard for me to justify potentially giving a roster spot to Mr. France. Alex Fellers, on the other hand, is a different story. Although he's worse defensively with that brutal 35 outfield range, and he's also nothing special at first base. So bringing him on board would further limit our defensive flexibility depending on who we sent down if we do have a waiver claim accepted on him. The bat is at least potentially interesting. Didn't play at all in the majors last year, but he hit .283 with 45 homers and 128 ribbies in AAA Albuquerque. And in 2035, he was up for a good amount of time, but he didn't get much playing time at all with the Rockies. Just a 130 WRC plus in his age 24 season in 2035. But looking at his ratings, he looks like he could be a useful bat against right-handed pitching. Another guy that I don't know, I'm willing, with the way our team looks, to ensure that he has a spot on the major league roster all season. But if our claim goes through, given that we are defending World Series champions, if our claims go through on either of these players, presumably that means there wasn't a lot of interest in either of them, which might mean that in a couple of weeks we could try to sneak them down to AAA ourselves. So we are going to go ahead and claim Alex Fellers as well and see if either of those claims go through. I don't love the transactions we're going to have to make to get those guys onto our roster. That said, I'm at least willing to juggle things between the majors and AAA for a initial assessment of either of those guys if our waiver claims happen to be successful. So you can't say I never look at or use the waiver wire. I do it on occasion, as I mentioned. I don't typically spend time on it in the episodes, so at least I'm doing that here for whatever little value that provides. We'll see if either of those waiver wire claims go through. I don't think either player is a high probability player in terms of significantly changing the number of wins this team's going to have this year. But if we can make those 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th spots on the roster a little stronger, there's no reason not to do it. And fortunately for us, our acquisitions of both Darnell Polite and Alex Fellers went through, so we are going to get them onto our 26-man roster for the time being, and then figure out exactly what changes we need to make for the near term to ensure that those guys get a little bit of action at the major league level over the next week or two. And what I've actually decided to do is I've put both of those players right back on waivers. I just can't find the roster move that makes sense to me to keep them on the 26-man roster. So it's conceivable they'll get grabbed by somebody else. But if not, we'll sneak them into AAA that way. Kind of thought I would send down Matthew Wenzel. I tried to send down Eddie Mosley, the veteran left-hander who actually does have 3 option years left, but is a 10-year Major League veteran. He refused that assignment. Matthew Wenzel is out of options at this point, so we would have had to waive him to move him down to AAA. And given that we're already a bit light on lefties, with only 4 out of our 13 pitchers being left-handed pitchers, didn't want to risk it. The other guy I thought about moving on from was the Rule 5 acquisition, Robbie McCracken. And Polite certainly has better stuff than McCracken, but I like the fact that McCracken has a diverse enough arsenal and enough stamina that he can start in a pinch, and is also a pretty positive influence in the clubhouse. Similarly, when I was thinking about putting the outfielder onto the roster, the guys that made the most sense to send down were probably the likes of Tyreek Hardage and Tim Gaglia, who each have options. But against left-handers in particular, both of those guys are expected to be in the starting lineup. And there are our 2 best defensive center fielders, even though we are giving Carlson the opportunity to start in center against right-handed pitching right now. I just felt like we were weakening our defense and weakening our lineup against left-handed pitching a bit by getting rid of a Hardage and or a Gaglia. Now, granted, you can see we've got all right-handers and switch hitters against left-handed pitching, and we're probably only going to be facing left-handed pitching about a quarter of our games. So it's not a huge issue if we made it a little weaker. The other guy I thought about sending down was Arturo Flores, who is coming off of a very mediocre season for us overall last year, but still feel like with some of his positive personality traits, even though he's not all that good defensively either, wanted to keep him up for the time being. And then when I looked at our kind of guys similar in terms of lefty corner outfielders, in terms of Heiner and Bolig, just felt like both of those guys were a little bit better than Fellers at this point, and they're admittedly a lot more expensive. So tried to play the waiver wire game, but when I think about our 26-man roster and not weakening our defense further as far as the outfield, and keeping as much versatility in our defense as far as guys who can play positions other than first base and left field, felt like going with the guys we had there made sense. And similarly on the pitching staff, felt like the only move that I would consider was getting rid of a left-handed pitcher. Given that we're light on left-handed pitchers, I didn't think there was a guarantee that Wenzel wouldn't be claimed. So we are going to dance with the 26 that we brought up north to Buffalo. We'll see what happens with Fellers and Polite going forward. And we finally, after all of that waiver wire drama, made it to opening day. Let's take a look at the preseason predictions here over in the American League. The Nashville Stars and the Seattle Mariners both expected to win 90-plus games and division titles. Seattle, as we've talked about in previous episodes, has an incredible starting rotation right now, and they are expected to give up the fewest runs in the American League this upcoming season. Over in the National League, despite the departure of Jenneret, we were expected to win 99, at least through this simulation, with a pitching staff that's slightly better than Seattle's when all is said and done. The Rockies once again expected to win the National League West. Taking a look at some of the guys expected to have big seasons, Mike Heiner. Be nice to have him have a bounce-back year where he hits over 300, 23 homers and 111 ribbies. We'll see what goes on there. And the rookie starter, Alexis Mendoza, expected to have a monster season for us. 18-6 with a 2.70 ERA, at least through this simulation. So high expectations in Buffalo, despite the departure of Jenneret. We are once again expected to be one of the top teams in the majors. And as has become our annual tradition, even though I am only a GM now, we are going to go ahead and play out opening day. It will be Sincere Shazier, our number 2 starter on the mound for us. Alexis Barajas ended up pitching the last game of our spring training because I wasn't really managing things too closely. So bummer that our ace won't be going on opening day, but we will be going up against the Montreal Expos here on opening day 2037 as we begin our title defense. You can see we are favored at the majority of positions, but our offense is not quite what it was without Jenneret being in there, so can't say that it's a total shock that there's a few spots in the lineup in the outfield where they are viewed as stronger than we are at this point. And with Shazier on the mound here in the top of the first, the Buffalo Wings received their World Series rings for the second time in 3 years in a ceremony before the game. And it is time to play ball here in the 2037 season. A 1-1 count to the leadoff hitter, Alpha Ankam. And he gets the season off to a good start for Montreal. Drills at least a double. He's trying to stretch it into a triple, and a leadoff triple for Alpha Ankam. So a runner on third for Brad Hayden. 0-1 count from Shazier. And Hayden pops that one up for the first out of the inning. Seifu makes the play, going after Jorge Eragui. And it looks like that's probably an error. They're calling it a base hit. The way the simulation looked like it might have been an error, but a base hit, so a run-scoring double. Get to the clean-off hitter now with a runner at second, Alfredo Ramirez, and they are having their way with Sincere Shazier in this first inning. 3 extra base hits from the first 4 batters, and not a good start to the season for the Buffalo Wings. Shazier now going after Michael Mullinax, and another hit and another extra base hit. So Sincere Shazier has faced 5 batters, and he has allowed a triple and 3 doubles, going after Ishmael Robles. 1-2 count, and he struck him out for the second out of the inning. Now going after Mike Morrow. And Morrow drives that one out to right, but the play is made out there by Juan Estrada. So 3 runs on 4 extra base hits in the top of the first for the Montreal Expos against our Buffalo Wings. So we've got an early hole here in Buffalo. We'll see if Deshaun Seifu can get things started. A 2-2 count from Dan Kenny, and Seifu goes down swinging for his first out of the year. Juan Estrada now up, and Estrada grounds out 4-3 for the second out of the inning. Mike Heiner, left-handed hitter, up now against Kenny, and Heiner flares one into left field, so a single for Heiner with 2 outs. Bringing up Bobby Bolig. Heiner and Bolig, with the departure of Jenneret, are going to really need to come through for us this year. First at-bat of the year, Bolig grounds out to first for the final out of the inning. So heading to the top of the first, or top of the second, 3-0, Montreal over Buffalo. We're now going after the number 8 hitter, Uribe, the shortstop here. We'll see if Shazier can have a better inning. Did get a fly out to right field for the first out of the inning, going after the number 9 hitter now, Jonathan Misko. And Misko grounds it out to Seifu, 4-3. And facing the leadoff hitter now, Ankam, who got things started with that triple last inning, 0-2 count to Alpha Ankam, and Shazier striked him out. So a much smoother second inning for Sincere Shazier, 3 up, 3 down for the Expos. Steve Anderson, the shortstop, number 5 hitter, flies out to center field for the first out of the inning. Joe Gallagher, the veteran, or not the veteran, Joe Gallagher is the youngster, came up at the end of last year, and we're going to see what he can do as an everyday DH for us here. He is the closest thing we have to Jenna after a couple of back-to-back monster seasons in the minors, and we'll hope that he can give us 80% of the production that Jenna has in recent years. Dylan Carlson, the new addition, 0-1 count. Carlson hits it to center field. Traded for him, got the Red Sox to keep most of his contract, and he flies out in his first at-bat as a member of the Buffalo Wings. So 3-0 as we head to the top of the third. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Hayden, Eragui, and Ramirez, due up for the Expos. 2-1 count to Hayden, and he grounds out 6-3. Going after Eragui now, and he flies out to left field to Mr. Bolig. Alfredo Ramirez, the cleanup hitter, now up, and he strikes out. So Shazier, 2 straight 3 up, 3 down innings on the mound, but obviously we're still got a big hole to dig out. The veteran third baseman Joe Edwards now up, number 8 hitter against right-handed pitching, and Edwards flies out to center for the first out of the inning. Our catcher Andres Medina, 1-2 count to Medina, and he strikes out. And back to the top of the order with Deshaun Seifu and 2 outs, and Seifu grounds it to first, or grounds it to the pitcher unable to make the play at first, so infield hit for Deshaun Seifu. Their catcher Robles has an excellent arm. We are going to have Estrada take a pitch here, and they are definitely concerned about Mr. Seifu throwing over. We'll take another pitch here. Strike 1 on the outside corner. We're going to send Seifu now. And Seifu makes it in there, his first stolen base of the season. Although Robles has an excellent arm, Seifu is still a very fast and very effective base stealer. So Juan Estrada, we're going to let him swing away now with a runner in scoring position. And he is plunked. So runners on first and second now for Mike Heiner, who had a hit for us in the top of the first. See if he can come through here with a runner in scoring position and another runner on first base. 1-1 count to Heiner, and he is plunked as well. So a 2-out rally going here for our Buffalo Wings. Dan Kenny seems to have lost it a bit. He's hit 2 batters in a row after the infield hit to Seifu. Got our cleanup hitter Bobby Bolig up with the bases loaded. In previous years, it would have likely been Shamar Jenneret in this situation, but we'll see whether Bolig can come through. A 1-2 count to Bolig, and the ball gets by the catcher, and Seifu in to score. The runners advance. So 2-2 count after that wild pitch, and we do have our first run across the plate. See if Bolig with both Heiner and Estrada in scoring position can come through with a big hit here. And Bolig hits that one deep to right field, and it is going to be a bases clearing triple. So our Buffalo Wings have come all the way back with a 2-out rally here. Infield single, hit by pitch to load the bases. A wild pitch to bring in the first run. And now a 2-run triple by Bobby Bolig to tie things up. Steve Anderson now up, 1-2 count to Anderson. And he is going to fly out to left to end it. But 3 runs on 2 hits for Buffalo, and it's a brand new game as we head to the top of the 4th. 3-3 here at Solon Field. So the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, Mullinax, Robles, and Morrow up. See what Shazier can do to Mr. Mullinax here. And Mullinax singles in front of the center fielder. So a runner on after 2 straight 3-up, 3-down innings by Shazier. Would have hoped that he could get out of this one and give us a chance to take the lead, but no guarantees. Mullinax does have decent speed. We're going to throw over and try to keep him honest. And now we'll go after Ishmael Robles, and Shazier struck him out for the first out of the inning. Going after Mike Morrow now, the number 7 hitter. And they steal the base. So a runner on second now, 1-0 count to Morrow, 3-0 count now to Morrow, and walk him. Guess the double play is at least set back up. And we will put the infield at double play depth to try to hopefully get out of this inning. The number 8 hitter, David Uribe, up. 2-1 count to Uribe. And wow, that was a single and a throw from Carlson into the catcher. Caught Mullinax at the plate. So runners on second and third, but 2 outs now throughout the lead runner at home. So got a chance now with 2 runners in scoring position to get out of the inning without any further damage. We'll see if Shazier can get the second baseman, Misko. 0-1 count to Misko. And he plunked him. Would not think that that was intentional at this point, even though we did have a couple of Buffalo hitters hit last inning. Shazier's thrown 61 pitches now, has certainly not been his finest performance. Bases loaded now to the leadoff hitter, Alpha Ankam, 0-2 count to Ankam, and he grounds it to third, and Edwards boots it. So bases are still loaded, and the go-ahead run in for Montreal, and now things getting a little more dangerous with Brad Hayden, excellent hitter, up at the plate. 1-2 count to Hayden, and Shazier did strike him out to get out of the inning, but a sloppy last inning of baseball between both Buffalo and Montreal. The Expos have taken the lead back 4-3. Joe Gallagher, the young designated hitter, leading off here in the bottom of the 4th against Dan Kenny. And Gallagher grounds out 6-3. Dylan Carlson, the center fielder, strikes out looking. And now Joe Edwards, the third baseman, strikes out as well. So Kenny came back from that rough third inning to go 3-up, 3-down on our Buffalo Wings. Head to the top of the 5th. Montreal 4, Buffalo 3. 68 pitches from Shazier. We're facing the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, so we've got some dangerous players up. Certainly love to get at least 5 innings out of Shazier today, although he hasn't been as good as normal. But that the right fielder didn't even move. A home run by Erigui, 405 feet. Carlson, the center fielder, moved a little bit. The right fielder just stood there and watched that one, no question at all. We'll see if Shazier can get the right-hander Alfredo Ramirez here. 1-2 count to Ramirez, and he does strike him out. The switch hitter, Michael Mullinax, up 2-0 count to Mullinax, and he pops that one up to left for the second out of the inning. And now the catcher, Ishmael Robles, 1-1 count to Robles. And he is out 5-3. So a leadoff home run for Montreal extends the lead to 5-3. Head to the bottom of the fifth now. Dan Kenny up against our catcher, Andres Funky Cole Medina. 2-2 count for Medina. And he is going to fly out to center field. Back to the top of the order with Deshaun Seifu. 1-0 count to Seifu. And Seifu lashes another single through. So singles in each of the last two at-bats for Deshaun Seifu. We'll have Estrada take a pitch, see if they're going to be throwing over. And Estrada takes a fastball inside for the first ball. We're going to send Seifu again here. And he is gunned down. Poor jump by Seifu and a good arm by their catcher. So now 2 away. 3-1 count to Estrada, and he walks. So I like getting aggressive with Seifu, probably too aggressive in that spot there. Heiner up now with 2 outs, a 1-1 count, and Heiner grounds it down 4-3 to finish off the inning. So heading to the 6th inning, Montreal 5, Buffalo 3. And with 80 pitches from Sincere Shazier through the first 5 innings, thought of taking him out, but we've got a bunch of righties coming up. We've got the bottom of the order coming up. After he gave up those 4 extra base hits in the first inning, he's only allowed 3 hits in the 4 innings since. We're going to try to get another inning out of him. Not that we really need it, but want to kind of try to stretch the pitcher out. And 6-3 for the first out of the inning. Going after now the shortstop, David Uribe. Uribe, another grounder, 6-3 for the second out of the inning. And going up against Jonathan Misko now, the number 9 hitter. Seifu certainly, Shazier certainly looking tired at this point, but hopefully he can get this final batter. Full count. And he does strike him out to end his day. So Shazier, not a perfect outing, but hopefully with that 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 6th, including a strikeout in his final, against the final batter he's going to face, can feel like he took something out of this outing. A reliever now on for Buffalo, or for Montreal, Chris Schultz, Bobby Bolig leading off for us here, 2-2 count to Mr. Bolig. And Bolig flies out to right for the first out of the inning. Steve Anderson, the shortstop, up with 1 away. And Anderson grounds out 6-3. And finally, Joe Gallagher with 2 outs, the youngster up, 2-2 count. And he goes down looking. So we head to the 7th, Montreal 5, Buffalo 3. With Shazier having thrown 89 pitches, going to be a day for him. Ended up giving up the 7 hits, 1 walk, 4 earned runs over 6 innings with 7 strikeouts. We will make a call to the bullpen. And we're going to go right to the young Rule 5 acquisition, Robbie McCracken, see what the right-hander who we picked up in the Rule 5 draft can do for us today. So Robbie McCracken going up against Alpha Ankam here. 1-1 count to Ankam. And grounder to short. 6-3 for the first out of the inning. Going after Brad Hayden, the dangerous left fielder. And he grounds it over to Seifu, 4-3 for the second out of the inning. The left-handed hitting Eragui is up right now. We'll see if McCracken can get out of the inning here. 1-2 count to Eragui. And he struck him out. So a nice Buffalo debut for the Rule 5 acquisition, Robbie McCracken. Head to the 7th inning stretch. Montreal 5, Buffalo 3. And we will have our 7, 8, and 9 hitters up. Carlson, Edwards, and Medina against the right-handed hitting Chris Schultz. Full count to Dylan Carlson. Little dribbler in front of the catcher. 1 away as he makes the throw to first. Joe Edwards now up. The third baseman flies out to left for the second out of the inning. And now the catcher, Andres Medina, up. Medina grounds it to third, 5-3, 3 up, 3 down for Buffalo this inning. Expos still up 5-3 as we head to the top of the 8th. And we're facing the 4, 5, and 6 hitters this inning. McCracken only threw 11 pitches last inning, so we'll see what he can do for us here. Full count here. And he coaxes a fly out to right field, and Juan Estrada for the first out of the inning up against the left-handed hitting Michael Mullinax now. 2-2 count and a grounder 4-3 to Seifu over to Heiner. And now going against the catcher Robles, 0-1 count. And he grounds it to short 6-3. So one positive thing is that the young Rule 5 acquisition McCracken has faced 6 batters and retired all of them. But it's time now here in the bottom of the 8th and the top of the order coming up for Buffalo to do some damage if we're going to get back into this game. Going up against Jackson Ferris, the left-handed pitcher, excellent reliever. Over the course of his career, he has actually only been an average player as far as majors. That's interesting because I've certainly looked at him at times when he's hit free agency. Thought that he could potentially be a left-handed arm that could help us in the bullpen, but never had him available at the right price in the free agent market or at the right price in the trade market to add him to the team. But we do have a bunch of lefties coming up now, 4 straight lefties after Seifu. So with the lefty on the mound in Ferris, if Seifu gets on, could be seeing some pinch hitters for our Buffalo Wings. A 1-2 count from Ferris to Seifu, and Seifu laces his 3rd consecutive hit. This one is going to be a stand-up double. So we've got the leadoff runner on at second, and a big start to the 2037 season for Deshaun Seifu. Estrada is up now, and we are going to go to a pinch hitter for him. And we are going to go with Tyreek Hardage, the young outfielder. Likely will keep him in the game. Hardage up here. 2-2 count from Ferris to Hardage, and Hardage unfortunately went down swinging. Mike Heiner now up. Heiner is a bit better against left-handed pitching than Bolig is. That said, we've got guys on our bench who are pretty good hitters, and we are going to give the youngster Arturo Flores a chance to pinch hit and likely come into the game at first base for us. Definitely has more power. Flores could certainly tie this one up with one swing. 0-1 count to Flores. And he is hit by a pitch. So 3 Buffalo Wings have been hit by pitches today. Bobby Bolig now up, and we are actually going to go for a 3rd consecutive pinch hitter here. Bring on Tim Gaglia for Bolig. So we are making the moves to get the righty versus lefty matchups, and in the case of Hardage and Gaglia coming into the game, also improving significantly our outfield defense for next inning for what that is worth. Not going to matter incredibly unless we can get some runs across, so let's hope Gaglia comes through with a big hit here for us with runners on first and second. And Gaglia pops it up to the catcher down the third base line. 2 outs. Steve Anderson now up, and we are going to empty the bench with the exception of our backup catcher. Fourth straight right-handed pinch hitter into the game. Going to let Tim Hull, the righty, pinch hit for Anderson and see if he can come through with 2 outs against Ferris, and unfortunately grounds it out to short. Makes the easy throw over to second for the 3rd out of the inning. So promising start with the double by Seifu, 2 base runners on, but nothing for the Buffalo Wings. And although McCracken would be facing the bottom of the order, we've gotten 26 pitches and 2 innings out of him. We are going to make another call to the bullpen and bring on the veteran Hayden Yinger to try to get the final 3 outs of the top of the 9th for us. Yinger going up against Mike Morrow. Morrow grounds it to third, 5-3 for the 1st out of the inning. David Uribe, the shortstop, up now. And he strikes out. And now Jonathan Misko, the pesky second baseman, 1-1 count to the number 9 hitter. And he grounds it to first. So gotten some good pitching over the last few innings, but haven't been able to generate much offense. They've brought in a right-hander, Mike Brooks. Get the final 3 outs of this game. He is their closer. Looks like just 2 saves a year ago, but a 3.21 ERA, 72 strikeouts, and 61 2/3 innings. Bottom of the order up for us, 6, 7, 8, and 9 if we happen to get anybody on. Don't have a lot of flexibility in terms of pinch hitting at this point, as we emptied the bench with the exception of our backup catcher last inning. So we'll see if Gallagher, Carlson, and Edwards can put something together here in the bottom of the 9th. 0-2 count to Gallagher, and he strikes out. Dylan Carlson, his first day in Buffalo. Did I click? Yes, I did click by mistake to go to pitch by pitch mode, which I don't want. 0-1 count to Carlson, and he strikes out as well. So 2 up, 2 down, both via strikeout here for Mike Brooks. The veteran Joe Edwards now up. 2-2 count to Edwards. And Edwards at least made contact, but pops out to second base to end the game. The Buffalo Wings defense of our World Series championship in 2036 begins with a 5-3 loss to the Montreal Expos. They jumped on us with those 3 runs in the first, as you know. We came back and tied in the bottom of the 3rd, and then in both the 4th and the 5th, scored runs for us. The 4th, they took the lead on that error by Joe Edwards, and then the solo homer by Aragui in the top of the 5th. Seifu, 3 for 4, as we talked about, scored a run, had a double, and had a stolen base as well as a caught stealing. Shazier was not great, but after that rough start, at least gave us 6 innings. McCracken and Yinger were both excellent. Aragui, the player of the game, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 2 ribbies, including that solo shot for the final run of the game. And as I mentioned, got to see a lot of different players today for the Buffalo Wings. Everyone except our backup catcher got some action, but the start for the 2037 season for Buffalo is 0-1 at this point. We will see how the rest of this early season progresses in our next episode. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.